Celebrating different cultures around the world is beautiful and can enrich many lives. But when you're bringing a film crew along and hope to profit from the experience, then things get tricky. There's a fine line between appreciation and exploitation.
There is no clickbaiting here. There is no put Philippines in the title crap.
One YouTuber allegedly crossed the line with 2 Filipino women. A suspicious contract was forged. Everything agreed supersedes and cancels anything discussed. Allegations were made. He repeatedly said, "Why are Filipinos so poor?" He's lost 500,000 subscribers because of his behavior. And now, the Filipino government is involved. NCIP-CAR is made aware of the issue.
I am angry and you are angry and we hear each other.
But he has more to say.
We are working with lawyers to set the record straight and let the truth come out.
What really happened in the Philippines? Let's find out. People have done some form of tattooing for hundreds of years. Some of the earliest tattoos date back to before 2000 BC, when female mummies were found with tattoos on their thighs. We use tattoos to tell stories of our cultures, our families, and our interests. The rich culture of Kalinga, Philippines, is best represented by 104-year-old Whang Od. She is the oldest living Filipino tribal tattoo artist. Tourists have been known to endure cold weather and take a 10-hour trip to the mountains just to get a tattoo done by her. She's been tattooing for the last 80 years and has even tattooed headhunters of her indigenous tribe, their tattoos being a sign of bravery and courage. She has also inked many women from their tribe, their tattoos being a sign of beauty and elegance. She uses a mixture of charcoal and water for her tattoos, which she then taps into the skin by using a thorn from a citrus tree attached to a 12-inch bamboo stick. After not having any children of her own, Whang Od decided to pass the tradition on to her grandniece, Gracia Palikaz. For Whang Od, it is important for the tradition to stay within her bloodline. She believes if someone outside of her family were to do the tattoos would get infected. Enter Nas Daily, YouTuber and owner of Nas Academy. Nas Daily, whose real name is Nusar Yassin, joined YouTube in 2011 to showcase remarkable humans all over the world. Most of Nas's videos showcase the amazing talents of people around the world in 1 minute, and those videos seem to resonate with people. Nas's channel has over 3.8 million subscribers. After graduating from Harvard University, he worked a high-paying tech job at Venmo before quitting to travel the world and make videos. He got his start on Facebook and initially claimed YouTube was a dying platform. He received money from Facebook in 2017 from their Creators Fund to help build his company Creator Tech, and even got praise from Mark Zuckerberg. Nas Academy is a platform Nas created where people can pay to take classes with or watch live sessions from professionals, teaching others about their passion or a useful skill. However, recently Nas has found himself embroiled in controversy involving Whang Od. In April 2021, Nas uploaded a video showcasing Whang Od and her tattoo talents. He later uploaded a course to Nas Academy claiming participants could learn the ancient art of tattooing with Whang Od. The now deleted course cost 750 Philippine pesos, which is approximately $15 US. On August 3rd, in a Facebook group titled Tattooed by Apo Whang Od's grandniece Gracia revealed the shocking truth about Nas's course. Warning! Whang Od Academy is a scam. My grandmother did not sign any contract with Nas Daily to do any academy. Some people are taking advantage of our culture. Please help us stop this disrespect to the legacy of Apo Whang Od and the Butbot tribe. People were upset by this news and believed he was only using the Philippines to get views. Pinoy baiting, I knew it. Exploitation. He's been using us for a long time. From Pinoy baiting, meddling in our politics, and now this? A little too gross. Later that day, Gracia posted a now deleted statement describing Whang Od's involvement in the situation. Gracia believed they had good intentions, but were also concerned their culture was being exploited. Whang Od Academy is not real. I spoke to her and she said she did not understand what the translators were saying. Our art and culture. I know you spoke to someone and gave some money and will share profits, but Apo Whang Od is not aware of your contract. On August 4th, Nas made a post claiming the course wasn't a scam and Whang Od consented to the project, including a video of her stamping her fingerprint on a contract. He claimed he wanted to share their tradition for future generations to appreciate, and that was why he created Whang Od Academy. He said everyone was compensated and that most of the money would go to her and her family. Her and her family present both love this idea and have worked with us to build it. with Whang Od teaching herself. As a matter of fact, Whang Od's trusted niece, Estela Palongdao, was present and translated the content of the contract prior to Whang Od affixing her thumbprint, signifying her full consent to the project. This is the clearest evidence that it is not a scam.
Nas said, out of respect for Whang Od's family, he temporarily took down the course while they resolve any issues that have arisen from these falsehoods.
On August 5th, Filipino broadcast company ABS-CBN uploaded a Facebook video covering the situation. Their video went viral, receiving over 2.5 million views. One woman made a Facebook statement explaining she was unfollowing Nas Daily and she believed the situation to be exploitative. She drew attention to Section 11.7 of Whang Od's contract with Nas Daily because she found it suspicious. It read, "This agreement sets out everything agreed by the parties relating to the course and supersedes and cancels anything discussed, exchanged, or agreed prior to the effective date."
She also brought attention to a statement made by the regional director of the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples Cordillera, NCIPCAR, Marlon Bosentog. They also said they were thankful for everyone's concern over protecting and preserving the indigenous peoples and their culture. Rest assured that appropriate intervention is initiated. Attempts to monetize without consent diminish and demean such practices and even its peoples, and will be dealt with harshly by appropriate penal laws. Marlon posted an update a few hours later. He said indigenous peoples have intellectual property claims that are intersected with Whang Od's art. Therefore, they shouldn't be used for things like clothing or media. He said the NCIP would make their review and investigate and find out if the right method of consent was used. The NCIP shared Marlon's statements. The NCIP shared a statement from 2020 from the Kalinga Indigenous Cultural Community's elders announcing the Kalinga tattoo is their collective property. Their statement said the Kalinga tattoos and designs are part of a collective ownership and do not belong to one individual. Therefore, one would need permission from the entire community before being able to use it for commercial purposes. It was also important to them that Kalinga not become a brand and stay a piece of cultural identity. Nestor Castro, PhD, a professor at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, summarized the situation and then shared his opinion. He explained Nas doesn't understand Kalinga culture and how Whang Od's talent and skill comes from generations of ancestors. He also said Nas doesn't understand Philippine law and that free and prior informed consent, FPIC, is required when using indigenous knowledge for commercial purposes. He emphasized how Nas would need consent from the members of Whang Od's tribe, not just from her. This indigenous knowledge is collectively owned, although it may be individually practiced by the Putput. Thus, the consent of the members of the Putput is necessary if this knowledge is to be shared to outsiders. Getting the permission of one individual is not enough. Nestor believed the problem could still be corrected if Nas was willing to respect the culture and offered the idea of putting the contract in English and in Whang Od's indigenous language so all parties could understand. Whang Od was not the only person Nas allegedly disrespected in the Philippines. Luis de Guzman Mabulo also worked with Nas in the past. Luis is the founder of the Cacao Project, a United Nations Young Champion of the Earth and a Nat Geo Young Explorer. In 2019, Nas Daily came to visit her in the Philippines to do a story on the Cacao Project, a project that provides cacao and vegetable seedlings to Filipino farmers to help them earn a sustainable livelihood and pay them a fair wage. After hearing about Whang Od's story, Louise wanted to share her own. She explained it had taken her years to come forward about her experiences. "I've held my silence for 2 years. However, in light of recent news, it's high time I break it." She explained it had taken her years to come forward about her experiences, and originally, she had been really excited for Nas to come interview her. She claimed her family took him in, but he wasn't who he said he was. Louise claimed he would mock Filipino accents, Filipino people, and the Tagalog language. He repeatedly said that the people of my hometown poor. Farmers are so poor. Why are Filipinos so poor? Louise claimed Nas didn't actually care about the issues and just wanted to get more views from Filipinos. He even joked at the start of the day that all he needed was to put Philippines in the title, and he'd rack in millions of views and the comments would come flooding with brainless Pinoy pride comments. Louise and her family felt very disrespected during Nas's visit when he didn't greet them or receive any thanks after they were hospitable to him. She claimed he refused to eat the food her mother had made just for him. Louise said she had worked with a number of journalists and professors in the past, but she never had an experience as negative as the one she had with Nas. She claimed there was blatant discrimination against her people and no regard for local customs or culture. Luis believed he had already created a narrative in his head and wouldn't let up until he got the footage he wanted.
He was disappointed that my work wasn't the perfectly packaged story he'd predetermined and imagined. I mean, what visual popcorn can you create out of a farm? He refused to let anyone take a break or eat, and he blamed his lack of presentable click-worthy content on me and claimed that everything is not clickable or viewable. She said ultimately she decided they shouldn't work together and they mutually agreed it would be best if he left. She believed Nas exploited the communities he covered and she was worried about potential backlash. And I've been haunted with the knowledge that he could manipulate years of my work with a single carelessly misinformed video. I chose to stay silent about it. I would not risk my hometown and the farmers here who benefit over an affront by some influencer. She hoped his true behavior would come to light. She was thankful to Gracia for coming forward. Gracia, you did what I never had the courage to do until today. And if you ever read this, you are not alone in your experience. I stand with you and hope you can get justice and the compensation your tribe deserves from exploitative content creators. Louise said she believed him to be exploitative and compared his behavior to colonialism. The fact that he refused to take down the course until Gracia took her post down is a clear sign of systematic silencing and the hope that they want to continue their money-making from our culture. And now, his response to the issue illustrates a video of Apo Whang Od signing a dubious contract, the same strategy colonizers used to mislead indigenous people to sell off their land, happening now action in the 21st century, except instead of land, it's data and content and tradition being sold. She wants the Filipino community to stand together against what she calls benevolent saviors. Filipinos should stand together on this. We are not content to be exploited. We are not culture to be capitalized. We are not people to be romanticized or poverty to set the scene for benevolent saviors. We are more than what the world thinks of us.
She said she believed Nas to be a new wave of colonialism and she wants to make her message known. Her message is to support local farmers, take action to aid marginalized groups, protect the vulnerable, and empower them to stand for themselves too.
Nas chose Filipinos for content because he knows his validation of our country gives him fame. We dictate the tide. We dictate the trend and virality. Let's put our own forward instead.
She knows Filipinos have the ability to make their country even greater and that they can do it by refusing exploitation.
Shai Lagarde, Louise's friend and a reporter for GMA News, a Filipino news network, shared Louise's status. Louise's father, Fermin Mabulo, the mayor of San Fernando Cam Sur, also released a statement going into more detail about the situation. We're still in the process of propagating the cacao trees. The content he wanted is still a few years in the making. Louise wanted to highlight the farmers and not just herself, but Nas said, who cares about the farmers? We were very transparent about what we showed him, but he was looking for something else. He even said to me, Mr. Mayor, we have a problem. We do not have content. I replied, we don't have a problem. You have a problem. He was full of himself and he was arrogant. Not exactly a role model for the young people to emulate.
Fermin asked his driver to bring Nas back to Nas's hotel. Fermin and Louise unfollowed Nas on social media, and they haven't heard from him since.
Nas was not happy with Louise's statement and released a statement of his own about their time together. Dear Louise, I have also kept my silence for 2 years out of respect to you, but I can't let you share falsehoods on the internet for free. We know the story already, so that's why we flew in to come meet you.
Nas claimed he was very inspired by Louise's story, and he wanted to go the extra mile to tell her story of how she revolutionized the cacao industry in her province.
He claimed the story behind Louise's project wasn't entirely true, and he claimed she profited from the project. Our investigation has made it clear that your story in the media is false, and that there are no 200 farmers that you work with, and there are no cacao plantations that you don't personally profit from. When we told you in person that we believe your story is not true, you understood us and you bid us farewell.
Nas said he refused to have fake news on his site and was sad that all the time he had invested wouldn't produce anything. He also refuted the claims that he was rude to her, claiming he thanked her family and took pictures with them.
Nas said he was disappointed by her actions and gave her advice. I have 2 advices for you. 1. Be truthful about your work. The Cacao Project is not as truthful as the media says it is. 2. Do not share online falsehoods. That is borderline illegal. Everything you said is with malicious intent, and it is clearly not how I speak. We have 5 years of evidence to back that up.
40% of my company is Filipino. He said he learned through his actions that sometimes good intentions go unnoticed or can even be punished, but he knows that examples of good people like Luis will help people to believe in the good of humanity. He also said he will continue to support the Philippines and hopes one day to work with Luis again. On August 6th, vlogger Project Nightfall came to Nas Defense and addressed the Filipino community. He was the cameraman who was supposed to film the video about Luis. He claimed Luis's story about her experience with Nas didn't make sense.
For starters, okay, before we even begin, the details of her post are not strong from a logical point of view. Can you imagine anyone with millions of fans from all around the world, a public figure, to say highly offensive stuff in front of a total stranger? I have never heard him say any of these words, because if he actually said them, I would be the first person to hold him accountable.
He said it was a big deal for them to visit Luis.
The video about Luis was one of the biggest surprises I have ever experienced on my journey. We took a few hours long plane to fly only for that video. Few hours flight. It was a story that has even been covered by the UN, so we thought it must be verified. Normally we wouldn't take a plane for one video.
Project Nightfall had nice things to say about Luis, but said her situation was dishonest.
Luis, honestly, is a great young woman. Very good energy. She was excited, a little bit shy, but very, very smart. Like, I cannot say anything bad about her based on that day. So I went with her and we took videos around her cocoa tree plantation. The trees were beautiful, everything was going well in the area she invited us to. But the moment we left her plantation, we started facing a lot of problems. Her program was meant to help farmers grow cocoa trees instead of coconut trees so they can make more money. And so we went to see farmers growing these trees. But the problem was that they were all dying. Tiny, dying trees. They looked nothing like those around Luis' plantation.
He claimed they couldn't use any of the footage they recorded, so they decided to leave.
We were driving in between for a few hours and couldn't find even one good-looking, healthy tree. And that's when we faced the dilemma that was so tough. Trust me, when you take a few hours long flight for one video, the last thing you want to do is to quit. But we had to, because the video would be a lie. And so we left.
Lost Juan is another vlogger who was there with Nas and Project Nightfall during Luis's filming, and he released a statement about the situation. He's a local Filipino vlogger who was a fan of Nas. He met Nas in 2017 and helped him make videos in the Philippines. Nas Daily and I were close friends since 2017. I knew him very well before, but I think everything has changed when he became famous. He confirmed Nas's story about Luis's plantations was true, and that he agreed with everything Nas said. What's in the news is exaggerated, but we didn't find anything on what we were expecting to see, just seedling and small cacao. However, he didn't like how Nas handled the issue with Whang Od. But until then, I didn't like the other issue about Whang Od, TBH. Juan said Nas has changed drastically since he first met him, and they were no longer friends. He said he had asked Nas for help, but even after all Juan had done for him, Nas never helped him. Juan claimed to have helped him with a lot of viral videos, including the first video from the Philippines that broke 1 million views. He said he doesn't want to claim he was used, but that it felt like he was. Juan also showed messages between him and Nas, showing Nas wanted Juan to publicly defend him. He said the situation with Whang Od is what made Nas lose his loyalty. I'm not ally with Nas. Before, I was a fan, and I almost do everything when he's here, but that won't happen now. I learned that it was a big mistake that he was helped because of his issues now, especially about Whang Od. Keb Cuevas, a former classmate of Luis's, said Luis's project was a business. I mean, I despise what Nas Daily did to Apple Whang Od, but all I can say is that being a plantation owner is not a social enterprise. She won awards for these prestigious ones. Yes, she was my classmate before. No, we are not friends. When she defended her Cacao Project before in class, I asked, so who owns the land? She told them. I asked then, how is that a social enterprise? She did not answer. In short, it's not.
Another person, Jim Leandro, then called Keb out for their statement against Louise, claiming they were looking to go viral. Hello, hashtag not the girl? Do you want to go viral too? Because there's a lot of evidence and receipt about your nonsense.
He exposed Keb for bragging about a degree from UPLB that doesn't exist. Jim also exposed that Keb wasn't even a licensed agriculturalist. By August 7th, Nas's Facebook page had lost over 500,000 followers. The day before Gracia called him out about his Whang Od course, he had 20,992,940 followers. Just 3 days later, he was down to 20,464,865 followers, showing a loss of 521,251 followers, according to Facebook's analytic tools. As of August 20th, he has 20,299,688 followers, showing another loss of 165,177 followers. On August 8th, Nas posted to Facebook that he would be pausing his Nas Academy operations in the Philippines. He said his goal was to help people become teachers with their input and consent, and that he would be working with the NCIP to ensure that all proper processes would be followed. We will be pausing our operations in the Philippines to focus on strengthening our processes around how we collaborate with our partners. We have full respect and belief in both the Filipino people and culture. We will come back more energized and ready to help more inspiring people become teachers in the Philippines. Nas received a lot of support from his fans. We'll wait for you. Come back stronger and better. One of the best content creators I've seen so far. Something with value. Be strong, Nas, and never give up on your goals. Looking forward to your return. Keep steadfast and know that we believe and trust in you, Nas Daily Tagalog. Don't get discouraged, Nas. There's still a lot of Filipinos who support you, and I'll wait for your comeback. However, not everyone was supportive. If you were to leave, don't try to be gentle about it. Don't pity us Filipinos. Don't treat us like a charity case. Don't look so tortured like you are the one hurting. Don't act as though you are doing us a favor. If you leave, don't come back. Do we really need to be educated through Nas Academy? Will it really change my life? He doesn't seem educated enough to sincerely apologize. Please educate yourself about our laws in Philippines first before you come back. Oh, don't come back at all. One person claimed to be part of Nas's team and said Nas laughed at the situation. Nas quickly addressed the rumor. Yo, this post has been reported. There is no Winston Palma working at Nas Academy at all, and the post is false. This is obviously fake news. The person will be reported. On August 9th, Nas put out a video with the caption, "It's my turn to speak." In the video, he explained there has been a lot of fake news spread about him online. He said he wants to talk about the history of Nas Daily in the Philippines to explain his side of the story.
My energy and the Filipino energy were the same. We both love to scream and make videos. So I held my first ever meetup there, and I met all of you.
And with your support, I got to work.
And started making videos about Filipino nature.
Mabuhay from the islands of the Philippines!
Videos about inspiring people, and videos about underprivileged people in Tondo.
I love you.
We showed the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly, and together we told the story of the Philippines.
Nas said he loved the Philippines and he started a company there, launching an app with his followers. He claimed all his stories are authentic.
There is no clickbaiting here. There is no put Philippines in the title crap. This is us on the ground doing the work to show you the bright side of the Philippines. That's why 2 years ago, we got an award for promoting tourism from the Ministry of Tourism itself.
He also said his team does their best to weed out fake stories.
Every time we make a video, there is a chance that it is fake.
So we have to do research. We go to the internet. We check things on the ground. We talk to the people again and again to verify.
However, he claimed they only worked on a fake story once, Louise's Cacao Project.
And one day, unfortunately, we stumbled upon a fake story in the Philippines, which is the Cacao Project. On paper, it was supposed to be a non-profit that helps farmers. In reality, it's a for-profit that exploits farmers. We said we cannot do this video in good conscience. We cannot show you things that we are not confident of. And it wasn't just us. Every person who was on the trip agrees that this story may not be real. And this is the evidence. We refused to make that episode, even if it would go viral. And that decision pissed off a lot of people.
Nas also explained he never made negative comments about the Philippines.
Of course, none of that is true. It is false. And people continued with this fake news. The same people say we used Whang Od, which is also false. In everything we do, we get permission. We worked with the family directly and got their consent. We made sure to support them during these difficult times. We did all of this as an act of support, not an act of exploitation.
He gave further insight into why he paused Nas Academy.
I am angry and you are angry and we hear each other. That's why we paused Nas Academy for now to work with NCIP to make sure everything is legal and everything is okay because we care.
Nas added his team is working with lawyers to let the truth come out.
You cannot make fake news about our character. That is a red line. We are working with lawyers to set the record straight and let the truth come out.
The situations with Luis and Whang Od aren't the first times Nas has upset a community. In May 2021, Nas went from 38 million followers on Facebook to 20 million, a loss of 18 million followers. After calling the situation involving Israel and Palestine a conflict, Nas himself is a Palestinian Israeli and has a large Muslim following. He posted a status saying Jewish and Arab people should be able to be friends and that conflicts can be resolved. His followers were also upset after he didn't condemn Israel's actions. It will be interesting to see how Nas chooses to proceed with Nas Academy and what happens with Whang Od. How do you feel about this situation? Let us know in the comments below.